Well, a federal jury today convicted a Lackawanna man and his son of kidnapping the man's daughter and then taking her to the Middle East, where they conspired to force her into an arranged marriage.
They now face potential life sentences. Channel 2's Dave McKinley has more about the story with international intrigue.
3 years ago, she was 21 and enrolled at UB. But after she says her parents tried to arrange for her to marry a California man, she packed her bags in secret and took off to Mexico, where a young man she'd been chatting with online for 9 years was waiting. When she called her family to report where she was, they boarded a plane and upon arriving in Guadalajara, learned she was engaged. Prosecutors say her father, 53-year-old Khaled Abu Ghanem, and his adult son Adam, the victim's brother, pretended to be happy for her before coaxing her to come back to Lackawanna so they could help plan her wedding, before she was then tricked by them into traveling with her family to Egypt to attend her brother's wedding.
After arriving in Egypt, the defendants took the victim to Yemen,
to a Houthi-controlled section of the country where women aren't even allowed to walk the streets without a male relative present. She said she was held captive in her grandparents' house as plans were made to marry her off there.
Her family exercised complete and total control over her.
She testified in court last week that when she told her father she'd rather die than be forced to marry, he beat her so severely she actually thought she would.
It was clear that the victim's life was in danger while she was in Yemen.
After a year, she was able to secretly use a relative's cell phone to contact her fiancé in Mexico, who set the wheels in motion to get the FBI involved.
A nonprofit organization called Unchained at Last, as well as other individuals, managed to smuggle a cell phone to her in Yemen, and using that cell phone, the victim was able to communicate with Agent Sussman and tell him what had happened to her over the last year or so.
The jury took 3 hours to convict both her father and her brother.
A lot of the evidence in this case was based on text messages between the defendants.
Like this one, where her father tells another of her brothers, "We would not be able to restrict her in the U.S. She disregarded the moral values." And he replies, "If she does not straighten up, she should be killed." And no one would say anything.
And I think the messages spoke for themselves. They laid bare what the defendants planned to do and what they did.
After the verdict, female members of the family wept outside the courtroom, where attorneys for the defendant, who'd insisted the victim made up much of her story, said the family was crushed and that they were shocked by the verdict and the speed at which the jury convicted their clients. On your side, Dave McKinley, Channel 2 News.